Hello, and welcome to the slightly rarer ReeVlog, the one before work. Sorry, the lighting's pretty terrible. That's the only source of light. I could turn on the electric lights, but that might cost me a whole penny of electricity, so I'm not gonna do that. Plus, natural light's better for me. You know how it is. So, why am I doing a before work ReeVlog? Well, the reasoning is I today looked at my yearly film board, which is up that way, and I figured I'd do a quick recap, a little see how it's going type deal. So the yearly theme 2024 is virtue/resonance. Virtue, there's the 7 cardinal virtues or whatever, which I've chosen 4. Just in case anyone didn't watch the other video about it, or videos where I've mentioned it. We have the main one being fortitude. That is to do with my physical well-being, mental resilience, but mostly physical well-being, given the whole chronic fatigue thing. So, what I've got next to it on the board is improve health, fitness, well-being, inspiration of trees, focus on fortitude. So be like a tree. I might be slower, I might not do as much, but I can still be resilient. Now, as a human and not a tree, that does mean that I need to do stuff to become resilient. But that has been the mainstay focus, which I have been able to work on more in probably like the past month than the rest of the year combined. The various things that I've done in the rest of the year combined, I think, have started to come through to help me with like general energy levels. I think I've had maybe one day that counts as a 3 out of 10, where 10 is my old normal day's energy, and 1 is I pretty much cannot move. 3 is I can go to work, I probably shouldn't. A 2 is I can't go to work. I've not had any 3s. By that, I think I've had 1 3 in the past like 2 weeks. Everything else has been a 4 or more, which is, you know, the minimum that I want to obtain. If increasing my fortitude does anything, is I want to get to a 4 or more 90% of the time. 95% of the time. More than that is asking too much, because people get ill. So illness compounded with chronic conditions is really gnarly and bad, and you know, it's not good. So the fortitude's going well. There are steps being taken in the right direction. It's all about pacing and training, with training being my priority and pacing being how I manage to train without causing issues in the immediate future, which might cause further issues in the long term. Today, I'm not doing any extra training because I have Kung Fu. The instructor's back. Whenever they go away and they come back, they always do a lot of conditioning work. So I'm not going to do any this morning because that might result in more burnout tomorrow. Not really viable. So, that is virtue 1. Virtue 2 is prudence. Now, this is something that I've always viewed as valuable, much like fortitude. Prudence being acting according to the situation, understanding that there are consequences to your actions, and taking that into consideration when making actions. It's really pretty, standard. I have put prudence as well as trusting my instincts a little bit, whilst also thinking, okay, if I do this, how is this going to affect me in a week, a month, 2 months, a year? So that mostly applies with budgeting, but also goes again towards the pacing for the training and everything else that I do. As I'm starting to feel a little bit better, I'm trying to get some more enjoyable aspects of life into my schedule, partially as part of my training. The more I get used to doing, the more my body will be used to doing, the more energy it will make. Specific adaptation to imposed demand. However, I'm aware that I need to, sticking with my fitness terms, do progressive overload. I don't want to go from doing work, sleep, 5 days out of 7, and then the other, 3 days out of 5, then the other 2 days being work, lay on the floor, board games, sleep, and work, see family, kung fu, sleep, and then have the 2 days of the weekend be whatever. I don't want to go from that to work something every evening. So I'm trying to add one evening in Thursdays, because then I'll have Mondays, Tuesdays off, Wednesdays are kung fu, Thursdays have a mental but not physical activity, Fridays are free, weekends are free-ish. So that's the plan. Working on it. It's going well. Haven't added it in yet, but tomorrow may be the first day, or the first Thursday of many weeks to have a thing, which would be nice. So yeah, prudence. That's just an example. But the other one being finances. That's a weird way to say the word. Finances. Don't buy things I don't need a lot. It's like my biggest recent investment was the kettlebell. That was like a couple months ago. I bought a new rucksack because my old ones are all broken apart from one, but it's not very good, so I figured I'd get a good one and I'll use that. So far, been working wonders. I wanted a big rucksack so that I can put a change of clothes in it, water in it, phone, wallet, keys, inhaler, etc. for a run. So then I can go for a run, drink at the end. If it's before work, which is something I want to eventually get to doing, maybe just 1 day a week, then build from there, something like that, but not yet. When I get to that point, then I can get changed, arrive at work maybe 5 minutes early, go into the bathroom, get changed so that I'm not a complete sweaty mess, have like baby wipes or something in there as well, just so I can wipe down the sweat, because we don't have a shower at work. I'd like to just run and not have to worry about running somewhere, running back again, showering, dressing, then going to work. Be much better for me, much more time efficient if I can just run, go to work, get changed at work, come back for lunch, maybe have a shower at lunch, rather than eat. Intermittent fasting, woo. And then go back to work, and then come home. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, virtue 2. Virtue number 3. Charity. Reason being, whilst this year is a focus on myself, entirely on myself. It is the year of virtue, but I'm not like going to be telling other people to be virtuous. It's on me focusing on these virtues. Resonance. There is an element that focuses on other people for resonance, that we'll get to that. It's still not trying to control other people though. So, charity is, whilst this year is a focus on myself, don't become selfish. It's not a big aspect of the year, it's just sort of a reminder, don't be a dick, effectively. So, I have given to charity, not much, just change when I'm at the shop or something like that. But I've done it, I'm still helping people where I can, and that's the most important thing. And the fourth and final virtue, justice, which, again, isn't a huge aspect of the theme, but I can't have a year of virtue without including justice, the best virtue of Yeah, so I'm continuing to do my best to be just. It's really hard in my line of work to maintain that, but I'm doing the best that I can at work and out of work, so that's important. And then for residents, that is, again, like with the prudence thing, follow my intuition. If I feel something's working, I feel a connection to something, someone, go with it. And that's where the resonance might influence other people, is my love life. Ooh, yeah. No, be it a friend, like friendship, platonic relationship, romantic relationship, whatever. If I feel something, look into it, go deep within, do that shadow work, and see where it leads. That is resonance. And so far, I think this year it's going okay. Um, I've got a lot of work, like there's a long road to go, and we are 7 months and a bit in. So we're significantly over halfway through the year. I don't think I'm going to reach the point that I wanted to reach by February. I had optional goals. Every year I try to have optional goals as well as the theme. I wanted to get my next belt at Kung Fu by June. That didn't happen. I've got my beat fatigue by Feb. Definitely working, for sure. I may have underestimated chronic fatigue as a thing, or overestimated my own abilities. I've spoke with a lot more people who have chronic fatigue since I made that, like, late last year, and people have it for life. And whilst that's not my intention, I'm a fix it in myself at the very least. I'm sure it works differently for other people, whatever. And I have a relatively mild case. I am going to beat it. I just need to figure out how to do it. And I think I might have overestimated my abilities in doing it by February this year. So maybe February next year. That's another 7 months or something like that. Maybe not fully beat it, but if I can get up from mostly fours, the odd 5 and 6, to mostly fives, the odd 6 or 7, my bad days then being fours, that'd be ideal. If I can get to that point by February, be good. Blue belt, December, maybe. That's the next Kung Fu belt. We'll see. We will see. But yes, that is sort of my update. I think it's going well. I may have overestimated my own abilities or underestimated the challenges I would face this year due to it. Related to it. But I'm doing it. I'm getting there. There is progress. So, happy. Do I have an idea for next year? It's around this time you got to start thinking about what's next year going to be. And I do. It's an idea I had a while back. Year of foundation. Now, it is effectively, the idea is build the foundation for when I travel to Canada. That's after I get my black belt. I will be doing that, but it's going to take time to get to that point. So the foundation will be focusing on not quite a minimalist life, but an overall reduction in possessions, selling things on, stockpiling financial resources, be that actual stocks, like investing in things, because then I can potentially sell them and get a return on that, be it positive, negative, or neutral, or just money, because I'll need it when I'm not here. Because if I'm going to travel, I won't be necessarily working, yada yada. If I can get some passive income, that'd be amazing, as always. Who knows? Might need to work with a couple of friends on something like that next year. but also the year of foundation is preparing, or continuing to prepare, for my black belt. I need to hit a point with my year of virtue where I am mostly at least 4s. If I can hit that 95% 4s by the end of the year, I can then move on to starting the year of foundation. That doesn't mean that I won't be focusing on the same things as this year, but it means I'll be adding in those aspects of reducing my possessions to make it more manageable for when I do leave, increasing my resources, increasing my savings, decreasing my spendings even more, that sort of thing, whilst also increasing my fitness. Because, you know, I can't be risking relapses that much. But yeah, that's the overall plan. Next year's going to be tough. Real tough. The training is really hard to train with the whole chronic fatigue thing, because you do some training and then that can wipe you out for 2 days if you go too hard, but if you don't go hard enough you make no progress. But again, I'm making incremental improvements there, but it's going to get harder. Like, the training has to get more intense to be able to do the black belt. The endurance side of it's going to be a pain. It always was going to be a pain, but it's going to be even worse now. And then the part that I think I'm going to struggle with even more will be the reduction in things I own. I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I'm going to have to go through and be like, okay, I need to get rid of this stuff, and there's going to have to be a lot of it. The sooner I do it, the better, because then once I get rid of some stuff, I'll have more space, not space to fill, but space to use. I can spread out the stuff I currently have, but I can also, say I get rid of a bunch of clothes, for example. If I get rid of enough clothes to get rid of one of my chest of drawers, that's a bunch of space I'll gain. Yes, I'll lose a surface, but worth it. Yeah. Anyway, I am going to go, because I do need to get ready to go to work, and get changed into actually work-appropriate clothing, brush my teeth, that sort of stuff. So I'll catch you cats on the flip-flop. Goodbye.